hello everyone. This is Bill Griffin. Welcome to the Different Take Podcast. Really appreciate your watching and your support. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, share, comment. New episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today I want to talk about something I just heard from, it's a tweet by a person named Stan Van Gundy. So this is Stan Van Gundy. He is an former NBA coach. And I suppose he knows a lot about basketball, but he's not really, doesn't impress me as being very smart, because he posted on his Twitter account a tweet with this meme. So we have a depiction, artist rendering of Jesus Christ delivering the loaves and fishes to the people. And the wording is, Jesus' miracle of the loaves and fishes was a slap in the face to all the people who brought their own lunch. And his point in this was that, and he labels this Republican logic, his point in this was that the recent and to bail out or forgive loans of $10,000 and $20,000 of Pell Grants that Biden has just announced, hundreds of millions of dollars, just out of thin air. He's equating this to the parable of the loaves and fishes that you can find in the Bible. Now, when I first heard this, I thought, well, maybe he's just having a bad day and didn't really think things through. And then I read some of the other tweets, which I'm not going to go into. You'll have to take my word for it or look them up if you don't believe me. They're equally stupid. This guy is really not that smart. But by and large, the responses were negative. They were in disagreement with Mr. Stan Van Gundy. But there were a few that agreed. And I want to kind of go through those, and then a couple that agree at the end. This is a tweet from Amy Beckwith. It says, I'd rather have people get $10K off their loans than rich people get hundred thousands of PPP loans forgiven. Amy, this is what I call two wrongs don't make a right. But I know you're going to say, well, my wrong is better than the other wrong. This thing is illogical. Both of these things, to a certain standpoint, were vote buying schemes. Both of these things are vote buying schemes. So your point is really that my vote buying scheme is better than the other person's. That's the point of this. Not that it's wrong. So this is from Wealth Squad Church Mother. It reads, not sure a man who was beaten and killed for our sins and preached about canceling debt would be upset about student loan forgiveness. Now, Wealth Squad Church Mother, do you really not understand that Jesus didn't preach about canceling debt? He also preached about a lot of things. That's what you want to think. Preached about canceling debt. That's the problem with your tweet there. I don't think you know what you're talking about, or you're just selectively remembering things. This is a tweet from Fake Your Cat. It says, Stan made a clear point. Forgiving student loans hurts people without student loans in the same way as feeding hungry people hurts the full. Conservatives are off topic by directing the issue to taxes when they support plenty of lopsided taxes that don't help everyone. Okay, here we go. Your logic is not there. It's not a clear point at all. You're saying that forgiving student loans hurts people without student loans in the same way as feeding hungry people hurts the full. So you're going to coerce the people that paid off their loans. You're going to take coercive action to repay, for them to repay the folks, the loans of the folks that didn't pay or have loans. The two wrongs make a right with the support of lopsided taxes. Lopsided taxes. I got a feeling that Thank Your Cat probably doesn't pay, probably would avoid taxes as much as anyone would avoid taxes. This whole idea that the parable took something from someone is bizarre. There's nothing in that, in this parable of the loaves and fishes. Go read it, look at it. There's nothing in there about taking. And Stan Van Gundy is fine with taking. And so people are naturally upset about, I'm having to pay for this other person. It's common sense. And they're upset about it. But he is equating this to something totally different. There's an interpretation of this parable that people were sharing their food with people that didn't have food, and he was imploring them to do so, and that was therefore the miracle. If you take that interpretation at face value, obviously those people that were sharing weren't doing so voluntarily. They weren't being forced to. Here's another tweet. So this is Lorraine Alden. It reads, if you're a Christian and you're big mad about the possibility of student loan debt being canceled, let me remind you that the entirety of your faith is built upon a debt that you couldn't pay, that someone stepped in and paid for you. Okay. Lorraine, the key word in this is stepped in. That means voluntary, not a debt that someone was forced to pay for you. So this is where you get off the tracks. Terrible tweet. And this is from Krista Steele. It says, I love this tweet. These Republicans are claiming to be Christians, spewing hate all week at a small percentage of loan forgiveness while having their PPP loans over $1 million forgiven is so hypocritical. People borrowing for education to improve their lives. What were the PPP loans for? Hello, Krista. It's the two wrongs make a right, but my wrong isn't as bad as your wrong. Or maybe it's not in this case. Because what she is saying is, this is great. And these Republicans, they're spewing hate at a small percentage. This is a small percentage. Ridiculous to call this a small percentage. You're talking about $300 billion with a debt of $26 trillion. This is a small number. National debt, $26 trillion or so. $29 trillion. $300 billion is not an insignificant number. It's certainly, you would not call that small by any standard. The whole idea that it's hypocritical is pretty ridiculous. There's really not a comparison between those PP loans and college debt. With the PPP loans, the government is forcing businesses to close. They're forcing them, of no fault of their own, towards bankruptcy. Whether this was, you want to let them fail or not, but you can't compare the two. And that's what Krista Steele is trying to do. Here's a tweet from a couple people that disagree with Stan Van Gundy. This is from Gnome Bloom, replying to @RealStanVG. Where did the loaves and fishes come from, Stan? Very appropriate question. Same thing you could ask all the people that were in agreement with Stan, because they don't deal with that in any respect whatsoever. The analogy is horrible. This is from Gary King, and it reads, I don't recall Jesus stealing food from people that brought their own lunch. Student loan forgiveness is not a miracle, and we're all going to pay for it in a number of ways. This is going to be lost on Mr. Stan Van Gundy, just looking at his Twitter feed. It just doesn't appear to be a very bright person, spews off about a lot of different things. Apparently has nothing better to do than do that. I realize you could probably say the same thing about me having this podcast, but I take the time to try to do a little bit of research. I don't think I'm mean-spirited, but Mr. Van Gundy's Twitter feed's pretty mean-spirited. Comes across as very angry for some reason at people that don't agree with him. I don't hold that point of view. I try to avoid anger. It doesn't do much good. Treat others as you like to be treated. I don't think he takes this to heart. So it just doesn't seem like he'd be a fun guy to be around. Maybe I'm wrong. But this certainly is a really weird tweet that got some national attention, and that may be why he's doing this, to get attention for himself. So those are the tweets that in response to Stan Van Gundy trying to compare what Jesus did in the Loaves and Fishes, the parable of the Loaves and Fishes, what he did has something to do with Joe Biden's plan to forgive student debt. And it's really, for people to be angry about this and seem it's unfair, seems perfectly reasonable. So that's my episode today. I hope you liked it, and I appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe, like, share, comment. Thanks for watching.